Welcome back to the channel. This is Pody with Upstate Outside. And we have our first trip of the year coming up. So we're getting the camper ready. I just pulled her out of the garage and we're gonna get her dewinterized and ready for our first trip. Well, at first glance, we don't have any mouse turds, which is good. So first thing we gotta do is we gotta get this antifreeze drained. So I'm probably gonna go take it over to Bass Pro Shop, get that drained in a septic system. We don't have any campgrounds kind of nearby, so I'm gonna go take it there, dump that out and flush these lines out. Things I have already done right now is I did put my battery on there. I'll show you what that looks like. It's just a 12 volt AGM battery. And I do have a shunt hooked up to mine that's hooked up to a battery monitor, so we can keep tabs of things while we are out at the campsite. Most of our camping is kind of boondocking, dry camping, so no electrical hookups. So knowing how much power you got left is always a wonderful thing. Probably tomorrow I'll take both these tanks off, get these both topped off for the season. We don't really use that much propane. So really the propane we mainly use for is just like our Blackstone. Some of our grills are compatible with propane. There's a hookup, so that's handy. But mainly it's just to run the furnace. And even when we have this thing cranking for fall camping, it really doesn't use all that much. We do have a combination fridge inside the camper which has propane. Fridge just wasn't all that reliable, and I found that most things just ended up getting frozen while we were at the site, so we stopped using that. This one is super chomping at the bit to get going, but I was kind of showing, first glance, we don't have any mouse turds or signs of mouse in the camper, but I can only see as far as you can see right here. We've used for the last 3 years dryer sheets. I'll show you when we open this thing up, but we put them in every cupboard, every nook and cranny. I was told the smell of them is what keeps the mice away. To me, it seems like it'd be a nice relaxing place to spend the winter, but beats me, I'm not a mouse. I'm gonna kind of just go through like a checklist of things that I always do before we kind of go out on the first trip, is I just go through and just make sure everything works, all your lights. I'll show you the inside too, but it's just, if it's not working now, it's not gonna work your campsite. So the other thing I like to do is just check it on just the 12 volt battery, because that's how we camp. So always make sure all your latches are undone on both sides. I always check this on just the 12 volt battery. All right, here goes nothing. You wanna do it? Nope, this one up here, honey. There you go. On the 12 volt, it's definitely a lot slower than if you were to have it plugged into the shore, AKA our house. But like I said, when we're at the campsite, this is what's gonna be our power source, so we have to make sure it's all working. I haven't charged my 12 volt battery in a while, so that could also potentially be a reason why this is going extra slow. Can I turn it off? No, I can't turn it off. We gotta make sure everything works. Before I take out the beds and actually get in the camper, I gotta put the stabilizers down. Camper's up. Lighten a little bit, just go nice and slow. Okay, good. Probably just gonna open half. Now I don't want you guys to go on the beds because I'm not gonna put the supports on right now. I just said don't go on the bed. I need you guys to start picking up all those dryer sheets, okay? Looking for little mice. I used these for like a couple years because they still smell great. They obviously were never used, so I just put them in a Ziploc. There's dryer sheets everywhere. The chaos of camping. We'll resume filming when I'm able to pull the camper up a little bit and get it fully open. Testing everything, making sure your extinguisher is all up to date. Things we gotta do. Check our anode rod. Yes, that doesn't look super great. You know what, we'll probably end up replacing this, but it's still got, to me at least, a lot of juice left. This is to the hot water tank, so I'm gonna get that screwed in, put some new tape on there, get a new anode rod. Got the antifreeze drain, pulled the camper up a little bit, so now I'm about to open up the bunks. Was supposed to actually go on a camping trip today, but I just didn't have anything ready. So anyway, here we are. Girls are demanding the camper be open, so they might be sleeping in the driveway tonight. So maybe that's our first camping trip of the season, is a driveway. Make sure everything works, and if it doesn't, we just go inside and sleep in our beds. All right, then we gotta do all of our little zip ties here. Not zip ties, but cords. I've actually had to replace one of these cords last year. One of ours broke. Going in, flip this up. This is gonna give us power. Okay, have power there. Like I said, I do a whole walkthrough of the camper just on the 12 volt to make sure everything works. Let's try the water pump. Sound, that's good. I haven't put any water in there yet. We'll just run ample water through there just to make sure every last bit of antifreeze is out of there. We don't use the water that we put in the camper for drinking or cooking. We actually bring a couple jugs with us of fresh water from home because that's just how we roll. All right, gonna get this raised up over here. Bedroom A. Ooh, I don't know what. I don't know if I put the stabilizers down, so I'm gonna go check on that real quick. I know I have the wheel chocks in. I didn't flip it, so that's good. The camper didn't flip while I was in here, but let's go. Okay, I did. Okay, all right. Welcome to the camping season. Whop. Gonna get bedroom B up and at 'em. We're gonna go through and check all the cupboards. Make sure those are free of mouse turds. Check in here. All looks good. Cleaned all these. Oh, they forgot some dryer sheets. All is good there. We're gonna get this door on now. What are we stuck on? Sometimes the pop-ups, everything just seems harder. I do have a theory though. We have some really thick memory foam mattresses on these beds because the mattresses that come on these things are just not comfortable at all. To fix that, really nice mattresses here. They add some warmth because there's no insulation in these things. It is just plywood on the bottom, tent on the top. So I do got to put some water through all these pipes. So that's what I'm going to probably do now. I'm going to test the outdoor spigot, make sure that's not leaking. And if it is, we'll just sell it. We'll just sell the camper and get a new one. Just kidding. No, we won't do that. Test the water pump. While that pumps that up, we're going to hook the propane up, make sure the hot water heater works. I did not fill these up yet. We're making sure our hot water heater works and making sure that these don't leak because had that happen before on the campsite. First, do the sniff test. Don't smell gas. That's good. Now we're gonna do the second test. Step 2, spraying some soapy water and just making sure there's no bubbles anywhere. All right, so getting all the air out of the line so these can fill up. Okay.
Is that going to turn on a little bit light?
Get the rest of the antifreeze out of the line. There's the hot water. Gonna turn on the hot water heater.
Yes,
Let's make sure our furnace works. Wait to hear the... That's what I guess. There it is. That's wonderful. Battery monitor is working. All right, now that we for sure know we're running propane, we'll spray some more soapy water. We're good. No bubbles. That's wonderful. I mean, this is a good test that it's raining because it'll let us know if there's any leaks that we need to figure out before we go on yonder. Other things to make sure before you take off is if you check the recommended PSI on your tires, make sure those are always filled up full before you go. Follow their guidelines. I came out here, I tested my spigot, made sure it didn't leak. So that's good, but we don't really ever use that. So next thing we're gonna check is the hot water heater. Good. There's a flame, that's reassuring. And we don't have any leaks from the anode rod there, so that's great. I don't know if I ever finished my train of thought. When I was trying to get the door off yesterday, and it was kind of like stuck up there, I think a big problem is because of these big mattresses, I really have to like compress my camper. Probably not supposed to do that, but I really do have to, like when I close it and latch it up, like I really have to push down on the corners. So I imagine some of that pressure is pushing into the door a little bit. All right, status report on the camper. It's been raining for 5 days straight. Just consistent, steady rain. And We have not identified any leaks so far in the camper, so that is awesome. I'm going to be getting everything kind of packed up in here, stuff that's just going to stay in here throughout the summer. Sleeping bags, toys, puzzles, backup supplies, paper towels, toilet paper, cleaning agents, this, that, and the other. We did a video on that if you have any interest in checking out how we pack our camper. A lot of these campers are a pretty similar layout for the most part. Again, if you have any interest in seeing how we organize the pop-up for success out on the road and at the campground, check out the video. We'll leave it in the description below. One more thing I do want to touch upon is your roof. So you're always going to want to check your corners and your seams. If anything needs to be recaulked, definitely put another layer on. We don't have one, but especially if you have an air conditioner unit on top of your camper, you're going to want to be extra judicious with the caulk and make sure your seals are tight because you do not want water coming in. I hope this video was in some way helpful. Key takeaways are just really you're going through your camper top to bottom, front to back, just making sure everything works, trying to address these things before you get out and don't have any power and don't have the resources like a full toolbox at home there you can easily fix things. Not to say that things can't go wrong on the campsite, because they most certainly can, but it's just easier to try and nip these things in the butt. Our first camping trip is coming up pretty soon. We are super duper excited for that. We will see you in the next one.